good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are having a good day today. It's another day with another topic. Today, we're talking about metabolic bone disease in reptiles. Alright, so when we talk about metabolic bone disease today, we're mainly discussing lizards and turtles and tortoises because it is most commonly seen in these species. It is also sometimes seen in amphibians and snakes, but we're going to talk about lizards and turtles and tortoises today because that's what we most commonly see in practice, and it's a very common condition, and it is easily avoidable if they're taken good care of. So we're going to be discussing this today. Now, what is metabolic bone disease? So, metabolic bone disease is a condition that occurs in these reptiles when there is either a dietary deficiency in calcium, in vitamin D. Also, if they are not exposed to enough UVB light. UVB light can be from an artificial source like a UVB lamp, or it can be from direct unfiltered sunlight. Okay, so if this is not available, calcium metabolism does not take place. So so that can lead to metabolic bone disease. Another reason is an underlying renal condition. So vitamin D is metabolized in the kidney or the liver and the liver. So if there is if they have liver or kidney disease, again it can lead to a poor absorption of calcium in the body and can lead to metabolic bone disease. Another reason is a hormonal imbalance. So there is a hormone called the parathyroid hormone, which dictates the calcium balance in the body. It is present in humans as well. It is also called the parathormone, which is easier to say. So when there is a low calcium level in the body, this hormone is secreted in a higher quantity, so that it helps to absorb the calcium, that is whatever calcium is available. So that is what we call hyperparathyroidism, so which occurs in metabolic bone disease, but it's secondary. So secondary is because of all these factors that we mentioned before: the diet, the UVB light, that will cause a secondary increase in this hormone, which will lead to metabolic bone disease because the calcium will be pulled out from the bones, from the shell, etc., so that the body can have enough calcium to function. Okay, so alright, so if they are not exposed, another cause of metabolic bone disease is also improper temperature. Okay, so if the temperature is not correctly maintained in the reptile's enclosure, they also will absorb less calcium. Metabolism will reduce, and it will lead to metabolic bone disease, which is why temperature, humidity, dietary requirements are all extremely important when you have reptiles, or if you are rearing reptiles. You need to be very aware of these things. You need to monitor the calcium levels. You need to monitor the temperature, you need to monitor humidity, you need to make sure they're getting the correct diet and calcium supplements if they're needed, if they have been prescribed by a reptile vet. Alright, now what would you see in metabolic bone disease? So let's come to turtles and tortoises first. We have some commonalities, of course, in the symptoms that we see in these reptiles. So so some of the common symptoms will be lethargy. They wouldn't want to move because obviously their bones are so weak, so they don't move around too much. So there will be lethargy. There will be a reduction in their weight. They will reduce, their appetite will reduce. They'll be sleeping some more. They'll be sleeping a lot more. Okay, this is all because of a low calcium level in the body, most of the times. Yeah, and they don't want to move, obviously, because it might be painful. Their bones are too weak to move. Their joints are too weak to move. Something very obvious that pet owners also see is, which all reptile owners should pay attention to, is the softness of the shell. If the shell is soft, it is a clear indication of metabolic bone disease, because of course there isn't enough calcium in that shell to keep the shell in a good form. But having said this, a tortoise or turtle with a hard shell does not necessarily is not necessarily healthy, and it does not necessarily have a good calcium level. Okay, because there could be a lot of other internal problems. Okay, so the shell, and we also see overgrown beaks. So the beak is the front, the upper and the lower lip of the turtles and tortoises. So either one or both will be overgrown, and in a lot of cases, if it is ignored, it's not taken care of, the beak starts overgrowing, and then the beak also kind of malforms. The jaw becomes crooked, because obviously the beak is overgrowing and there is no place for the beak to grow, so it starts growing at an angle, and because of which the jaw bones also kind of turn to that angle, and in a lot of these cases it's very difficult to reverse this. It's extremely painful for them. They can't eat, so you obviously that it should not reach that level, and if it does reach that level, it's obviously a very, very serious problem. In a lot of cases we see swollen limbs. You'll see swollen forelimbs, swollen hind limbs, swollen joints as well. In iguanas, especially with metabolic bone disease, their thighs, the hind legs look very thick and muscular, but in a lot of cases it's not muscle, it's the bone that has actually kind of grown that big so as to provide calcium for the body. And so we can only know that once we do some diagnostics and we've done a physical examination as well. So that is something to watch out for in cases, a lot of cases with lizards as well, with chameleons, geckos and iguanas. We see that the jaw becomes soft and pliable, like it actually, the jaw becomes like rubber. You can actually move the jaw like a rubber jaw, and again that happens in very, very severe cases. So before of course it reaches this level, they need to see a vet immediately. All right, okay. And you'll also in a lot of cases see overgrown nails. A lot of people try to trim their nails at home, and a lot of times it bleeds. So please do not do this at home. See a reptile vet. They'll let you know what you need to do, and do not try to trim these nails, because we've had a lot of accidents, and sometimes it's very, very painful for these guys. So avoid doing that at home. In tortoises, we see pyramiding in the shell. Now what's pyramiding? Pyramiding, usually the shell is like a smooth round, like a mountain, but in certain cases you'll see pyramids in the shell. Okay, so these are like small peaks on the shell, and these are also an indication of metabolic bone disease and low calcium levels in the body. So any abnormal growth in the shell and the bones is a very, very big indication of metabolic bone disease. Now another thing that you do see, now pyramiding also, I want to just come back to pyramiding. When we talk about pyramiding, in some cases, in some species, pyramiding is normal, okay, but that can only be judged by an experienced reptile vet who knows whether that pyramiding is normal or whether it's a result of metabolic bone disease. All right. A lot of times we see some turtles that are kind of oozing out of their shells. Okay, the shell is too small for the rest of the body. This unfortunately we do see a lot, and we do see it a lot in Indian roof turtles that have been kept improperly at home. Of course, this species is not supposed to be kept at home, but there are a lot of these that are kept as pets, and we see this a lot. The shell, and even in red-eared sliders, we do see this a lot. So the shell kind of remains small, the rest of the body grows out of it. Okay, and it's not just an indication of obesity, it is an indication of severe metabolic bone disease, that the shell has not grown enough to cover the body. Okay, that is a very very abnormal turtle, and these cases are irreversible. We can't get the shell to grow and fit the turtle again. Okay, these are permanent deformities, and they're going to cause a lot of problems as these turtles grow. Okay, now these, because of the weakness in their bones, these reptiles are very very prone to fractures. In some cases, just holding the leg can lead to a fracture. Them walking on that leg just one step and suddenly it's fractured. It's exactly in like in human beings we get osteoporosis, rickets. These are all other names for metabolic bone disease, and in reptiles it does get very severe. So in a lot of cases there will be, as we call them, pathological fractures. So these fractures are of course again number one painful, and again fixing them at when the body's calcium levels are so low is going to be a long and hard journey. Okay, and it's painful for them. So prevention obviously again is much better than going in for the cure. Yes, we can help them, we can at certain stages reverse these things, can make it better with supplementing them with calcium, but obviously we don't want them to reach that stage in the first place. So which is why we have to be very very careful about what we feed them, how we're keeping them, and what kind of supplementation they're getting, their UVB light, etc. Okay, now let's come to diagnostics, like how do we as vets diagnose this condition. So number one, of course, with a physical examination, when we have the turtle, tortoise or lizard in front of us, we obviously need to feel the bones, we need to palpate, we obviously feel the shell to see if it's soft. We need to see obviously if there are any abnormalities like pyramiding or overgrown beaks, etc., staring us right in the face, any deformities which will give us a clear indication of what we're looking at. Okay, a great tool again is x-rays. We always like to get x-rays. X-rays give us an excellent idea of the bone density. We can see how porous the bones have become, and that also gives us a better idea of how we're going to treat it, how long the treatment is going to be. Okay, and we also like to do blood tests. Now these blood tests will, number one, tell us the level of calcium in the body. We also check phosphorus levels. So calcium and phosphorus ratios we check. So that happens when there is a dietary discrepancy in their general upkeep. Okay, and we also want to look at their liver and kidney function. So if there is a problem in the liver and kidney, we need to treat that as well, so that they can easily start metabolizing the calcium and vitamin D again, so that they can get back to normal. So blood tests are equally important when we are treating these reptiles. Now what can you do at home? So the number one thing is, before you even decide to have a reptile at home, you need to know what all goes into their care, which is why I am so hell-bent on people speaking to a vet or doing these videos, so that people know before they even get into it what they're getting into. So they need unfiltered sunlight. Okay, now if you have if you're giving them sunlight like through a jali or like through the glass, it's obviously not enough at all. Alright, sorry about that. Through a jali or through a glass window, etc., because the UVB rays will be blocked. Okay, glass blocks UVB rays. So we also see a lot of humans having vitamin D deficiencies. We're all taking vitamin D supplements because we're not exposing ourselves enough to good quality sunlight. Okay, so go out into the sun, and morning sunlight, of course, as our grandfathers, grandmothers have been telling us for ages, to sit outside in the sun early in the morning. It does help, and these guys need it as well. So early morning sunlight, at least for 2 hours, is excellent for them on a daily basis. And of course, if unfiltered sunlight is available to them on a regular basis, that they can decide when they want to go and sit in the sun, that is ideal. But of course, in houses in the city, we have to provide them with an artificial way to get that UVB radiation as well. So we need to get UVB lamps. Now these UVB lamps are easily available online. Okay, they are available on Amazon as well. There are a lot of other, you just look into any, just search UVB lamp for reptiles on Google, and just you can order. There's a long list of UVB lights that are available. So you need to make sure you're getting a good quality light, and the light needs to be replaced. Okay, the light cannot constantly be used like for years on end, because its potency does reduce. At some point you're only providing them with light and heat, that's all. They're not getting any UVB rays. So you do get UVB monitors. I'm not sure if they're that easily available in India, but yes, abroad you get them. Especially herpetologists might know where to get them as well. So you can actually measure the amount of UVB that's coming out of the light, and once it's gone, obviously it's time to replace the light. Ideally, I would suggest replacing it every 6 months, which is ideal. Alright, so UVB lights are now actually easily available on Amazon, so please get those if you have a turtle, tortoise, lizard, even snakes, depending on what kind of husbandry they need. Now, of course, diet plays a major role in this. The diet needs to be what that species asks for. So we've done an entire video on the dietary requirements of different reptiles. So please look at that. So the diet needs to be correct, and your reptile vet will give you supplementary calcium for them if they are obviously eating by mouth. If they are eating on their own, we can obviously provide you with supplements that can be mixed with their food regularly, so that they have a good level of calcium maintained in the body. Okay, but even supplementing this calcium, it makes no sense if they do not have access to UVB light. So UVB light, unfiltered sunlight, is extremely important for them to live healthy lives. And of course, temperature. At a low temperature, their metabolism is just going to tank. It's going to go low, and they're not going to metabolize anything. They're going to be very sick reptiles. So temperature maintenance is extremely important when it comes to these guys. Okay, so I think we've covered metabolic bone disease in lizards and turtles and tortoises. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. And if there's any doubts about it, of course you can always DM me, or comment on this. It's going to be put up on Facebook, IGTV, and YouTube as well. So I hope this talk has helped you guys to understand what metabolic bone disease is. It's something that is so important in the lives of our reptiles. Since we are keeping them at home, of course we need to make sure that they're healthy, and this unfortunately is something that we see so regularly in practice that it's not okay, really. So of course, if metabolic bone disease is caused by other conditions, like other underlying conditions that obviously could not have been prevented, it's great, it's fine. But most of the times it's because of an incorrect diet, it's because of incorrect temperature, it's also because they are not given enough sunlight. Okay, and again, turtles that live in water cannot just be kept out of water. They need water, they need a basking area, they need proper enclosures. Alright, so these things are a must whenever it comes to reptiles. Their enclosures are the first thing that you need to look at. Next is, of course, their diet. Their diet has to be correct. So before you even start taking care of it, or before you, I would suggest, even decide to get one, please speak to a reptile vet, or just read. Okay, read what goes into their care, read reliable sources. If you have a doubt on whether a source is reliable or not, please reach out to me. I will tell you whether it's correct or not correct. All right, So, with this, thank you so much, everybody, for joining into this session, and I hope you guys have gained something out of it. I will see you guys once again very soon with another topic, and I hope I can help you out in some way. So, thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.